All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Career Coaches Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about industry trends. So in a few minutes, we're going to have my dear friend, my dear friend, Reno Perry, joining us. We're going to be talking about the job market in March. We're going to be talking about the new LinkedIn algorithm. We're going to be talking about what we're seeing is working for clients getting better jobs faster. And lastly, we're going to talk about side hustles. So I'm gonna actually start by something that's going in a lot through my head while I wait for Reno. I know he probably has something to do with his son, but he's not here right now. But something I've been thinking a lot about career coaching, and that is our job as career coaches when we're working with clients, it's ultimately to help our clients get better jobs faster. And just like managing our employees, like if we're the manager and we're managing the team, if you've ever had to manage employees, right? Which most of career coaches have at one point or another. Our job is to increase output. And there's two ways to increase that output. You can increase the capability or like teaching our clients strategies on how to tailor their resume, how to apply for the jobs correctly, how to network with the right people, right? How to prepare for the interview, how to negotiate your salary. Those are all increase of capabilities, teaching strategies on how to do that, right? And then on the flip side, the other thing that you could do to help your clients get better jobs faster is increasing their motivations to execute, right? And what I found is that most coaches heavily index in one of those two things. They're either A, very, very focused on just like, here's the strategy that you need to follow to do that. And they might have the best strategy and they might know exactly what your client needs to do to get the job, but then they lack the motivation. And the lack motivating them, right? So they teach their clients their strategies, but their clients are not being sold on the strategies and therefore not executing. And on the other side, I see coaches that are very, very good at the motivation piece. Like they're like essentially very good life coaches. They're very good at getting people to execute, but then they lack the strategies. But what I found is that if you are a career coach and you can get really good at both of those things, right? Understanding the right strategies, what's going on in the market, how to apply, how to network, how to do all that. And at the same time, can get your clients to execute, right? Either because you are motivating them, you're serving as a life coach, or a coach, or because you have systems and tools and processes and reminders, there's guardrails for them to execute, because the better they execute, the better results they get. Then therefore, you're going to be able to get them better results. So that's something that I've been spending a lot of time on lately as I've been working with our clients and noticing that like there's a very clear separation, but the top 1% of coaches are the ones that could do both. They can know how to turn on their motivation, their cheerleader, their coaching hat on, and know when to turn it off and focus more on the strategies, the capabilities, and so on. So with all that, Reno, I see that you are here. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
How dare you guys? Daniel, I thought I'd just pop in and see what was happening. I saw you were doing a podcast live, so I said, why not join Daniel?
Well, I appreciate you joining us. How are you, man?
Good. How are you?
How's your Easter week?
Good. We're in the middle of moving, actually. You probably see I got my boxes and everything here. So breaking the office down and finally moving somewhere else.
Is this the big move to Portugal, or am I speaking that into existence for you?
So no. This is another place in Chicago, but Portugal is still on the table, and Spain.
Love it. Hey, so today, I know it's going to just be me and you. Adam is in spring break with the family. I think there's some beach or something. So couple of things I wanted us to dive into. One, what we're seeing in the labor market. Two, maybe talk a little bit about the layoff of Oracle. I don't want to spend too much time on that because it's just one company and there's millions of companies. Yeah. Three, what are you seeing and how people are getting jobs now that maybe it's shifted from last couple of months or even last year? I know that for you, you've gotten a lot of success. Your clients are getting, I think, a lot of offers. And so when I see you, like, if you're willing to share some of the tactics that you're seeing that's working more this month than before. I want to talk about the link. Oh, what? I thought you were in spring break.
Look at this.
It didn't happen.
What? Why not?
The weather at the beaches that we were supposed to go to just kind of turned. So we said, you know what?
All day.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to drive 6 hours and go sit in 35-mile-an-hour winds. So sorry to interrupt you, but
I thought I jumped in. Listen, we appreciate that you came to talk football. That's what we're about.
I'm terrible at football, but yeah.
Well, glad you're here, Adam.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
Welcome. So I was going over the 5 kind of topics that I was going to guide this conversation with. So one, don't want to spend too much time on the first couple of three, but we'll start there. Labor market updates. Second, kind of layoffs that we're seeing like Oracle, but again, not a lot because it's just one company, but we'll talk about it because it was a big topic. Three, seeing anything that you guys are seeing updates on how your clients are maybe getting jobs, or like, is it more networking? Is it more application? Is it more whatever that might be? Four, so that is, are people still getting hired? And then five is the LinkedIn algorithm. Any changes that you guys are seeing since the last month, and kind of go from there. So
answer is yes.
yes, the answer is yes.
We're going to do that.
Go into detail. I saw something very interesting. So I'll kind of say March, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, reported that 178,000 jobs were added in March, and unemployment is now at 4.3. Gains concentrated in healthcare, construction, transportation, and warehouses. What are you guys' thoughts on that labor market? Do you think that it reflects the broader market that you're seeing with your clients, or you're seeing as you guys have a pulse in the market?
I mean, I would say I think it's great to see the jobs added, but you probably also saw a lot of backlash to that report, that it wasn't representative of the market. I think in any job report where there's, I would say, either marginal or significant gains, which this one was, you see healthcare driving a lot of that, right? And so healthcare, you have construction with some infrastructure jobs, but I think in terms of professional services, tech, software, you're not really seeing that represented in here, and that makes sense. We've seen really a downturn in those industries, and I think that's continuing. And then also you have probably, I can't remember the last time that we had a positive jobs report. So you're essentially digging yourself out of a hole for recent months. I think it was February was actually a loss of, what was it, 90 to 130,000 maybe. So good to see a lot of these healthcare and construction jobs coming back. Not necessarily coming back, but leading the way. But I don't think it's representative of the total market. And I will add that just in my business, it's something that I keep an eye on in terms of these jobs reports, but I don't let it impact the actual day-to-day and how we're helping people. Essentially, also because, me and Adam, our businesses are helping people do things that I would say 98% of other candidates aren't doing. And so that's the way I try to look at it in terms of what we're doing, is that, yes, you have these headlines that will make you feel a certain way, but not to get caught up in that month to month, because if you have, then it probably hasn't been a really great last 6 to 12 months for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout out from Reno on try not to let the headlines get you too hyped up. You need a job whether the headlines are good or bad. So
totally, yeah.
Don't let your systems fall, to whatever the news is saying. I think it was pretty mixed. My take on Q1 as a whole was it was pretty mixed. There was some good data in there. There was some negative data in there. I think exactly what Reno said. March data was good, but you were kind of digging out of the February hole. There were some places where growth is strong and places where it wasn't. I wrote a newsletter to my job seeking community yesterday, and there was a data point that I pulled. I think it was from I have to go look. Fact check me on this one, Daniel. You're great at that. I have to,
Mary, please fact check out.
I think it was from roberthalf.com, but there was one thing that I pulled, and it said, I put this in my newsletter. I'll just repeat it here. It was job openings at the end of February sat near 6.9 million in the US, but actual hires dropped to 4.8 million. So you have this gap between openings and actual hiring. And I actually kind of built my newsletter around that. Like, there are openings, the jobs exist, but companies are taking their sweet time filling those roles. They're careful. The interview processes are getting longer. And I think we're feeling that on that.
Did Robert Half had a data point, and I didn't read your newsletter, but is that
what?
That wasn't a dig, by the way. But
yeah, it's okay.
By the way, I didn't read your newsletter at all. So the 6.9 million jobs out there, did it also tell you how many of those jobs were in certain sectors? Right? Do we know if that's just a bunch of idle healthcare jobs or construction jobs that just can't be filled, or is it really across the board? And it's to your point, just companies are really taking their time and no urgency.
Yeah, the report from Robert Half was around this theme of companies have the ability to hire, but they're being really selective. And I'd have to go pull the article, which I can do. But Robert Half usually reports. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very sure. Like, it was 6.9 million openings, but hires at 4.8 million. I don't know what it means by quits. Like 1.9 people percent quit, which is low confidence movement. And then LinkedIn's economic graphs says the global hiring is still 20% below pre-pandemic levels. I don't know if it's the same article. Mayor, if you want to share the article.
No, that's right. That's the one. That's the one.
And then it says, but levels and job transitions are at a 10-year low, meaning that people are staying put on their job because they're afraid that they're not going to find something better. Yeah.
So yeah, this was kind of the theme of where I went with my, market insights and trends report is I'm not paying a ton of attention to like the BLS data month to month. It's not really influencing much of how we're designing strategies for people. But this whole concept of there's more openings, available. Companies are being very, very selective. That data should influence how we're thinking about interview prep. It should influence how we're thinking about networking and how we're thinking about lots of things. So, yeah, mixed Q1. I'm not dying on any of those BLS report hills, but there's some insights there that I think are worthwhile for senior level job seekers. The market's, in my opinion, it's been mixed for a while. So I don't think we're not in like a new space.
Changed, like nothing's dramatically changed positively or negatively in the last month. What do you guys? This is a dad joke, but what is the difference between a recession and a depression?
Oh man!
All right.
As a dad, I don't know. I'm excited for this though.
A recession is when a lot of people lose jobs. A depression is when you lose a job.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe it's not a dad joke. It is actually a famous economist said that. Mary,
It's a sad joke.
A bad joke? What? Nah. Okay. With that being said, how do you guys feel about the move of Oracle having an amazing, I think the last quarter higher profits than ever, but still deciding to lay off over close to 30,000 jobs because they're reallocating that budget towards AI and infrastructure? Because it wasn't like the company was doing that, right? Like it's like a company was doing great, but they're like, hey, we need to pay for all this AI that we've committed to. Or
yeah. Are you're asking how we feel about it?
Or what are your thoughts on it? Maybe not how you feel. I don't care about your feelings. We want to hear what your thoughts, like, what does that mean? Do other companies follow suit? Like, do we start seeing that becoming a bigger trend? Is it just for the big top 10, 15 tech companies that have committed to AI infrastructure? And is that only for those companies? For the rest of the companies, this doesn't really matter? Or you think this will somehow trickle down to everyone?
So I'll go on this because I actually posted about this last week.
Sorry, I didn't read that post. I'm just kidding.
Danny, you should have. It went viral. I got like 100 likes, and it was great. But so I posted this last week because Oracle was one of the. Obviously, they grabbed the headlines. 30,000 people laid off during an email. Just wild, by the way. To build out AI infrastructure, right? And so every headline seems to have some connection to AI, but I think it's important to note that there is a distinction in the way that companies are doing this. AI, I posted this last week. AI is sort of a cover story in a lot of ways that I think doesn't always tell the truth when companies announce this. And so I posted something last week from a fairly well-known venture capitalist. His name's Rory O'Driscoll. And he basically said, whenever you see a company that says they're laying people off because of AI, he puts them into these 5 buckets. And one of those, the first bucket, I've actually seen a lot of this. Nothing's changed at all. They just realize they have too many people and they're going to blame AI. But they're BSing 100%. And so this is sort of the classic AI excuse. We just did sloppy hiring but hey, everybody's talking about AI, so we can blame AI. So that's the first bucket. Second bucket is actually growth is not happening anymore. And we have too many people. And this may be because of AI, because AI is taking away your market share. That's another reason that they're doing that. And a lot of customers are obsessed with AI, so they're losing business. But it's not really because, and so they lay people off of that, but it's not because, oh, we're getting all this productivity from AI. Remember, we talked about that I think, on an earlier podcast. The third one is similar to what we're seeing with Oracle. We spent all our money on CapEx to build out AI, and now we can't afford all these people. And so you're basically seeing Oracle do that preemptively to say, hey, we're going to we need billions and billions of dollars to build out infrastructure. So we got to let you guys go now. Right. So that's third. And then 4 is the actual AI use case that most people are thinking about. The fourth reason is we're actually using AI the way that people intended us to. We don't need as many people. We're super productive. What used to take 10 people could take 1 person. And so this venture capitalist, Rory, actually says there's very, very small amount of companies who are actually in that bucket of number 4 that are truly seeing productivity gains from AI. Everyone's just kind of either covering for sloppy hiring or hedging against the future. And so I think that's really, and there's a fifth reason, but very similar to the fourth one, which is basically companies hired the wrong people, and they don't really need 20 engineers who know C++, but maybe just 8 who have really good AI skills, right? And so that just changes the hiring a little bit. So, I mean, my last impression before I hand it over to you guys is, at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters as much because one way or the other, you're just going to see this accelerate in terms of companies that are investing in AI. And it could be for any of those reasons I mentioned. I do think it's important, though, as a job seeker that if you're in this market or if you're a coach even, and you're helping people think about companies to work at, try to really understand what's going on inside that company, right? What is the health of the company? How are they thinking about AI? Are they on the cutting edge of that? Are they laggard? Are they in the process of making cuts to make way for AI? So I do think it's important to know, but I think at the end of the day, this is just going to be happening everywhere, and it's going to continue to happen. Whether or not you're seeing true productivity gains from AI, the cuts and investments are happening, and I don't see those slowing down anytime soon.
And Joe Broda.
Yeah, that was a really thorough breakdown, and I'd say I agree with pretty much all of that. I think a lot of times the companies are, hey, if we slap an AI label on this, then there's forgiveness for this crazy huge layoff that we're going to make in all these people's lives that are affected, which is just, that shouldn't happen. We talked about Block a couple weeks ago. We're talking about Oracle this week, Oracle this week. I think this will continue. I think it'll happen for the next multiple years. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. I have 2 things to add to that. I think no matter how you sell or market the situation at Oracle, you laid off thousands of people. That there's a negative connotation to that, and I don't think there's any way to fluff it up or spice it up. That if everything was really going right, that wouldn't need to happen. I don't know a single CEO that's excited to lay off 30,000 people, right? If there's a way to keep people, I mean, I remember this at Amazon back in 2022 and 2023. If there's a way to keep employees, to redirect them, to put them on a new work, to put them into new places, they would do that. That would be my belief that would happen. We talked about talent density, I think, last month, right? And if it's a company that says, hey, I have 100,000 employees, and with that 100,000 employees, I can make $1 trillion in revenue. But here comes AI. Now I don't need 100,000 employees to do that trillion. I need, 80. Okay. So instead of just chopping 20K employees, the company would be like, well, hey, let me just take those 20K employees and now do $2 trillion in revenue with the same amount of people. Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're not seeing the shifting as much as we are seeing the chopping still indicates to me that no, there's something negative happening behind the scenes. If you need to chop people to go fund a bunch of, AI data centers, dollars were mismanaged somewhere, right? The LRBP was not correctly created. And I'm not saying that's the case in every one of these situations, just like Reno alluded to. I think there's a spectrum. It's hard to say exactly where they fall on that spectrum, but I don't know leaders at companies that are pumped to just, lay off that many people. That's crazy. Something deeper is happening beneath the surface for sure.
Yeah. Message
in terms of Oracle. Go ahead, Reno.
No, I was just saying, hey, message to CEOs. If you guys can use AI for anything, why don't you use it for internal mobility and helping place people into roles where they can succeed, and you can actually...
I'm waiting for the CEO to chop their own job and say like, hey, I created an agent that can do my job. We're just going to see how that goes.
It's coming. I bet you it's coming. It's going to be a headline grabber. That's the reason for it too, right?
I think was it the CEO of Google? Was it Pichai that was interviewed and kind of said that like I think there will eventually be companies run by artificial intelligence, like it can do just as good a job as I can do. I'd have
I
to
don't
look that
remember
up. I have to
that,
fact
but-
check myself, but I think that was him.
I did see there was a company with 2 employees that is worth $1.7 billion.
I don't think it was because of AI. It was they used AI, and so
Well, yeah. But it was like he did everything AI or outsourced everything that he could, and he was like they sell weight loss medicine.
yeah, the GLP-1 drugs. I saw that. Cool story, but I was not sold on it. It's basically an affiliate company that used AI for their front end, like an affiliate marketing company that scaled, and he just pumped ads and did really well.
Good ads, yeah.
I think you're going to see more of those stories too, though. I do. I think, the solopreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met the solopreneurs with AI, seeing, how many hundreds of millions of dollars I can do by myself with AI.
Well, there's a 48% increase in people searching side hustles.
Yeah, that's notable. That might be worth a podcast discussion. It's never been easier to build stuff, right? I mean,
100%.
Claude Code and Co-work and all these new features and tools that exist. It has never been easier to make things. Anybody can make a product now. Anybody can do software now. It's uncharted territory a little bit.
And then there's a decrease in people getting gig economy work is down.
Makes sense too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, next topic here would be, how are you seeing people finding jobs differently in this month or in this year than previous years?
Differently, meaning like, are we
Like, is it
doing
more
new
like-
and unique things?
Well, anything that's shifted, let's say maybe last year cold application is where, like I say, the majority of people got jobs, and now it's not cold applications. Like, is it networking? Is it more specific on applying for the right job? Like, for example, the way I think about this a lot is, and we'll talk about LinkedIn, but all the social media platforms are transitioning from social media to interest-based companies, right? That they're all just showing you what's interest-based. And what I'm noticing in the job search is that it's going the same way. Companies are it's more about applying to a fewer companies, but being very, very selective and having a closer match to what the company is looking for, right? So kind of similar how the social media wants interest-based application or postings. Same thing. The companies are looking, because they're using AI to filter a lot of these jobs. They're looking for the closer fit, like the sniper approach of job searching. But I think that would be a big trend that I'm noticing.
Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily new, but I think you're seeing an acceleration of that, where companies want the exact matches. They want the person who's had the same role at their direct competitor down the street, who's been doing this for 10 plus years. And I am seeing a lot of that, where in my case, where we've had clients who land their jobs the fastest, it's usually because it's in they're getting a job in a category that they've already worked in. And so they're really fast tracked through the process. So that's one way. Another way that's actually we've been seeing a lot of success with, I'd say this year in particular, is networking. Yes, I'm always been a proponent of networking, but not networking when you know that there's an open job at that company. And so it's networking with companies that are in your space. So it could be a competitor or adjacent company. There's no posted role that would be a good fit for you, but you say, hey, you know what? Let me go and network with the CEO, or let me network with the executives there. And I've seen just in the last month, we've seen a few roles that have been created as a result of those efforts. Or they were thinking about hiring someone with that person's skill set. They just don't have a formal job description or role. And these three people that off the top of my head I'm thinking about were essentially co-creating the job description as they were building relationships with these people internally. So I think back to one of the recent offers we had, somebody landed a COO role, and they reached out to the CEO who was in the CPG space, and they said, hey, I'm a senior level operator. I, do this kind of work. I've worked at these companies. And the CEO said, wow, we've never had someone like you before, but I would like to. That led to conversations. She essentially helped create the job description alongside the CEO, said, here's what I'm looking to make. Here's the things that I can do. What do you think? CEO said, sounds good to me. I'm simplifying it, of course, but then that led to a job opportunity and a job offer eventually. And so I'm seeing success with that approach of target your competitors or adjacent companies, even if there's not an open role. And if you're experienced enough and you've had a track record of success, you're going to see a lot of these companies that I think will try to make something happen. May not be right away, but I do think it's a great way to also reduce competition. So if you think about a lot of these open roles, how quickly do you start to see hundreds of applications for a certain role? And so there's a sentiment, I think, for a lot of my clients that by the time a role's posted, do they really have a chance? Or are there people that are internally are already being tapped? Are there referrals externally? Are there 300 plus people who already applied? And so we're seeing that, I think, a shift towards that type of networking that has been working out.
What do I have to add to that? I don't want to say the same thing over and over again because I agree. This isn't new. This has been trending since probably early 2024.
Yeah.
If I go and I look at the number of offers or job placements inside of my community where people are going from unique job skill A to unique job skill B, meaning they're changing job skill, that number is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. We do a lot of industry to industry job changes. We do a lot of company to company job changes. But as Reno pointed out, like it's the same work, right? Companies, as we said, like they're taking their sweet time. They understand that it's an employer's market. They are, hiring managers are going out to their recruiting teams and saying, I want people that can already do this. I don't want to, invest senior level money into somebody that can figure out the role, right? I want proof. I want somebody that has the systems and the tools and the experience and can go. And like I said, that theme that's been around for a while, and it feels like the margins get tighter every quarter, in my opinion. And that's what we're telling people in our community, right? It's like, hey, you can put a pie in the sky goal out there, but as a career coach, my job is to try and help you understand what reality looks like. And I'm not saying that you can't go after something that's a little harder to attain. That's fine. You just need to have realistic expectations of how long that might take or the level of work you might have to do. So yeah, my about, kind of my long way around answer to this is what we're talking about right now. The fact that the margins are tight and it's an employer's market just means it's so incredibly important for every single client to understand their unique value proposition within a space and how their job search strategy should change because of that. If you're early career and mid-career, there's different approaches based off of somebody that's later stage executive level, VP level. If you want to go work a job in FANG, you're probably not networking your way into a role that you create yourself, right? To the story that Reno just called out. You're probably not going to do that at a company like Google or Nvidia or Netflix. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. But, that strategy where we're going to go kind of invent our own job and pitch our skills and, communicate the value that we can create proactively might work in a different segment of the market. So it's not a one size fits all answer. I don't know if it ever has been. I think this is the value that the career coaches can offer, right? Is that I can show up with all this knowledge that I have about what's working and build something specific for Daniel Botero based off of his background and his goals and what he brings to the table so that we can, get more job opportunities faster with less frustration. And I don't think, again, like there's trends, we can talk about those trends, but you have to market what you've already done. You have to market accomplishments. You have to market proof. That's what we're doing for clients. And, as the market has tightened and companies have realized that they can get what they need, I could talk about this for a really long time. The short answer to your question is visibility systems are what is working in the better work universe right now, right? You need to know who your audience is. You need to build material that makes a strong impact. And then you need a system that gets you visible to the right people. Sometimes that system is an outbound messaging system, right? Sometimes that system is a LinkedIn, posting or commenting strategy. Sometimes that might be, creating a website and pushing traffic to that website. There's a lot of different ways that we could build that out. You can't get buried under a sea of candidates. And that's, like I said, that's kind of the systems engineering hat that I wear at Broda Coaching is, we can help you with resume writing and we can help you with career clarity. Those things are absolutely within the realm of what we do. The hard part is getting you visible. That's how I would answer your question quickly.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think one of the things that I noticed you guys talk a lot about is how you de-risk the candidate so that it's a low risk hire for the employers. Like, I think that is a common thing that you guys both talk about a lot. It's like a lot of the things that you guys are telling your clients to do, it's all towards minimizing the risk and showing that they could do the job. Like, they're going to pay off high reward, low risk. And so if we think about every candidate, it's an investment, right? And every company has limited resources, right? Then hiring the right person, not only can they do the job, but also can I make sure that they're not going to leave in the next 2 years? How do you minimize that risk, right? And I think that's the challenge too, is like when you are applying for jobs where you're extremely overqualified, you're like, well, they're asking for 15 years of experience and I have 30. I'm like, well, the risk that you're going to stay there for enough time also, it's low. Like the risk is too high, right? So overqualification can also kill you. But let's shift the last like 20 something minutes into the LinkedIn algorithm. We're seeing, I feel like this is the biggest algorithm change that I've noticed probably in the last, I don't know, I've been on LinkedIn for 10 years. And I feel like this has been one of the biggest ones that I've personally noticed myself. What have you guys are seeing? What are some of the things that you guys are going to be doing differently in April because of the algorithm changes?
I think LinkedIn algorithm, Adam and I have talked about this a lot too, where really over the last year, right, Adam, you'd say we're doing a lot of experiments in terms of what changes are happening to the LinkedIn algorithm. LinkedIn, I don't know if officially, but have through their product team have been feeding bits and pieces out to the public in terms of algo changes. If people are listening, you're probably aware that LinkedIn did actually come up with a name for this algo. It's called, I think, 360 Brew or Brew 360.
360 Brew, yeah.
360 Brew, and there's some articles out about it out there that will tell you the gist of it without getting into too much detail is there.
No, we want details. We want details.
You want details? Okay. You want
You
details?
got 20 minutes to fill.
Well, yeah. All right, fine. I'll do a few minutes, Adam. You come in. So I don't have the article in front of me, but the summary of, I didn't read it. That's why I don't read. It just gets summaries. I just Gemini or whatever I can get. So the summary, and I'm just going off the cuff here, is I'm just kidding. I'm not going off the cuff, but is there's a shift away from this viral content. I think that's the first thing. Anybody who's been on LinkedIn for, I would say, either a couple years or several years, and you log in, you always used to see these posts that would get 10,000, 30,000 likes. It would be a quote from Richard Branson or something Steve Jobs said that was just so simple. And you'd be like, how is that getting 30,000 likes and millions of views? And that was the world LinkedIn was just, there was a lot of gaming to get this virality. And it was all about vanity metrics is, I think, what I would say. You don't see that anymore. So if you log into your feed, you don't see a massive viral post anymore. You don't see a lot of those tweet style viral posts or provocative quotes that are getting all these likes. Now the algorithm has shifted to more value content. So what you do see is a lot of interesting opinions. You see tactical advice. You're seeing a lot of how-to guides. You're seeing pockets of areas or niches that that are sharing really interesting information. So LinkedIn is really curated towards that type of feed, and that's what they ultimately wanted, was to shift away from virality to reward content that educates. And so now the underlayer of that is also LinkedIn going after the people who are gaming the system. And so things like engagement pods, you're seeing LinkedIn crack down on that. Tools that are automating posts and comments and AI, you're seeing LinkedIn starting to ban these tools, and the creators of these tools on these platforms are just being removed from LinkedIn. You're seeing a lot of the old strategies of how to boost a post, have as many people like it in the first hour and comment on it. Those things aren't really working the same way that they used to work. And it's really shifted towards more of, hey, you don't have to have a perfect time to post. You don't have to have this strategy of everything needs to be done in the first hour. If you just put out valuable educational content, over time, the algorithm will reward you for that, and you're going to get relevant people to your content. So I want to touch on that really quick before I hand it over to Adam. Is there a lot of people, I think, complaining about the algorithm too? Is I used to get 300 likes, now I get 100 likes. Or I used to have 50,000 people see every one of my posts, now it's 10,000 people. And you are right. I think across the board, you're just seeing a decrease. And I would still call those vanity metrics, right? Impressions and likes. But you're seeing a lot more, supposedly, relevant people that are coming to your content and engaging with your content. I don't know how true that is in terms of the relevance factor for other creators, but I could tell you for our business, the last 3 months of this year have been our highest revenue months ever. And we haven't really changed anything. We still only use LinkedIn. We haven't used ads, right? I still post once a day. I reuse a lot of my content. So I haven't really changed anything drastically to my approach. But there is an argument that more relevant people are finding your content and coming to your profile. And one last thing I'll add, because we talked about this last year, this algorithm change. I have noticed a change just in the last month, I would say, for content. So if anybody out there is listening and saying, well, what's been going on this year? Is there anything different this year? I have noticed that carousels are essentially dead. Not all of them, but carousels, you're seeing 9, 10, 12 site carousels with people used to swipe through. That used to be pretty reliable, at least for me and other creators, where I would see you could usually post that and get a pretty healthy amount of impressions, maybe not necessarily likes, but you get good viewership on that. That has changed pretty drastically this year for me. And again, I have been posting a lot of the same content, the same carousel that used to get 150 or 200 impressions, maybe getting 50 this time. And so I've noticed that carousels have been deprioritized, and things like cheat sheets and infographics have actually gone up and have been doing better, or at least haven't been docked impressions. So again, no data to back that up except for my own anecdotal evidence. But for anybody looking for what I've been observing, at least recently, that's my observation.
We know that saves and reshares are big drivers. I would say with the 360 brew algorithm coming in, LinkedIn's posted publicly a couple of times, like their product leaders have posted a few times on this, that there are other metrics aside from comments and likes that are driving how LinkedIn decides to push the content, and saves and shares are a part of that. So I think that's one of the differences with why cheat sheets have done so well, is it's, for whatever reason, it's a single page, it's a PDF, and the reshares, the saves, and some of those back end metrics are higher, as opposed to the carousels where the information is kind of spread out, and for whatever reason, people don't share or save those as often. Yeah, I mean, again, Reno's pretty accurate. Again, we talked about a lot of this stuff, so I don't think you're going to necessarily hear new things from me. I continue to do a lot of experimentation, continuing to try and figure out, maybe how to bottle up some interesting things and pass that on. There was a really good video that was shared, I think yesterday. I have to find the link, but it was a guy named, here, I can even share it if not, but a guy named Brandon Smithrick. He's a content creator on LinkedIn, but he interviewed LinkedIn's VP of Global Editorial. Her name is Laura Lorenzetti. And he kind of went through a list of LinkedIn features and just had her rank them on a scale of like A to F, A being, good, F being bad for fail, and how useful they are with the new algorithm. If you find that video and watch it, I think it's pretty helpful. They talk about, should I put a link in a post, and how are videos doing, and blah, blah, blah. There's some helpful insights. The thing that I walked away from that video with, and some of the content that LinkedIn's product team has put out in the past, let's call it 8 months, is that the old algorithm, I think, functioned more like a decision tree, right? Kind of like a Boolean operating if, then, that, this kind of a style decision-making tree. LinkedIn's new AI-powered algorithm operates more like a person. It processes information like you and I process information. And the key insight that I pulled from this video that I pass on to folks on this call is that 360 Brew has the ability to analyze content like you and I analyze content. And this VP kept continually using the words salesy, right? She kept saying, you want to avoid content that sounds overly salesy. You want to avoid content that, makes it sound like the objective is to sell something as opposed to educate. And a lot of her responses to questions like, should I use hashtags? Should I use a link in a post? Can I talk about a brand sponsored thing, right? Like, does LinkedIn discredit somebody that's got a brand sponsorship and is trying to post about that brand? A lot of that response came back to, you want to do it in a way that's educational. You want to do it in a way that builds credibility. You want to do it in a way that adds value and teaches. Where the algorithm starts to have issues is when it becomes salesy content, right? Like that's how we're training 360 Brew to think. And I think, kind of like Reno said, what's working really well for me right now and has been working for the past couple months is the highly educational stuff where I'm giving a lot of things away and trying to create value for my audience. My impressions, I mean, if you were to go back and just look at things, I made a pretty pivotal content change in, I want to say, probably April of 2024, where I said, hey, honestly, this was before 360 Brew existed, but I'll just be transparent with you all. I got to a point where I started to hate my LinkedIn content. I didn't enjoy writing, the inspirational quotes and the AI generated signs. And I just was like, this isn't me. This doesn't feel like me. It's doing well, but I don't like how it sounds because this isn't how I would coach somebody. Right. So I started to shift my content model at that point, and I still continue to shift it, but I kind of went down this more tactical educational approach. If you were to look at my content and my numbers, and Reno kind of hit on some of this, I took a pretty huge engagement and impressions hit in the back end of 2024. And I would say most of 2025, probably through June, July of 2025, where my impressions were a fraction of what they used to be. Right. I was probably doing something like 150,000 views per week on average in that 12-month period of time. Whereas 2023 to 2024, I was probably close to 500 to 600,000 views per week up until that point, trying to run a model with more viral content. So yeah, there was a pretty noticeable dip somewhere around, let's call it summer to fall of 2025. My more tactical, specific content began to pick back up. I noticed that my views started to go to 200,000, 250,000, and then I would say, a good week now is 400,000 impressions off my content, where all my posts are, specific and tactical, and I've been holding those numbers for probably the past 3 to 4 months, and again, I'm paying attention to what LinkedIn is doing, but exactly to what Reno said, the same has been true for me. Like, I really don't care about the impressions like I used to a year ago or even 2 years ago. I don't. What I care about is what's going on with sales, right? And as long as the revenue numbers continue to go up, which FYI, they have been since I made that change, we've been fine. What's crazy is that when 360 Brew came along and we started to notice some of these big swings, I would say that it's, for whatever reason, as a coach, it feels like the people that want to find my content are finding it more easily, right? We're getting more applications. We're getting more, inbound. We're getting more people on the master classes. There was a dip there. Don't get me wrong. There was absolutely a dip there. But I think the 360 Brew updates have been overall good because we've been able to help more people. We've been able to get more people in the door. It hasn't been as difficult to find our ICP, within the content. So, Reno, I don't know if you've seen the same thing, but in general, yeah, less impressions, but better, better performance on the sales and marketing side, the revenue side, the quality of clients side. It's been generally good.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think you touched on a point there, is I think there's now this new discovery engine as part of this 360 Brew that didn't exist in 2024, even early 2025, where if you just put good content out there, LinkedIn will continue to serve that up over a course of days, even weeks, to the relevant person in your ICP, which wasn't something that had happened before. And I also think is a way to help measure that. You and I, as you mentioned, less impressions, same thing, but revenue's gone up. There are still coaches and people in our space that I see are trying to still make the viral strategy work. And I would say they're having moderate success, right? I still see those posts that get a couple thousand, maybe a few thousand likes that are more viral, and they have similar businesses, but I know that they're not, doing as well in terms of the revenue side, or they struggle with the revenue side. And I only think that, what's that, Daniel?
Is the lead quality is not the same. They can get lead
quality,
attention, but it's not the right audience. It's not the buyers. It's
100%. And I think you're just going to continue to see that divergence where if you don't shift your strategy to what the algorithm is rewarding, you're going to continue to see this divergence of where you're going to have other coaches that are investing in the educational and the tactical and providing a ton of value that are getting relevant people who are willing to pay for those products and services versus people that are liking your content now, are just liking it and they're moving on. right?
Yeah.
They're not really viewing you as an expert, and they're not seeing any of your content that shows you're an expert. So that, that's, I think, a warning to anybody thinking about still trying to force a viral strategy or thinking about vanity metrics. That really is a dead strategy, I would say, in 2026.
My question for Reno. So, Reno, I know there was a point in time where you were killing it with like the branded deals and the sponsorships and stuff. And I'm curious, has the changes in the algorithm and impressions, like, has it changed how sponsored posts happen for you? Has it changed expectations of the companies coming in? Like, hey, are they still asking for the same number of views? And what are you thinking on that side? I'm just super curious.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I still do sponsor deals. Not as much as I used to in like 2024. 2025 had a few sponsors that I work with. And I would say before it used to be about, oh, how many impressions are you getting? How many likes? That's, we want the creators who are getting hundreds of thousands of likes. It's now shifted to more, I would say similarly, they want to see web traffic. They want to see signups. They want to see people interested in products. And I would say, I'm just thinking of a sponsor that I work with this year. We have not had as many impressions as we had in years past or last year. But the posts are still performing well in terms of
Conversion.
Conversion rate, getting the right people to see their product, to sign up for it. And so I think that's also a telltale sign as well.
That's what they care about. Again,
I think that's the back end strategy that LinkedIn is actually trying to get right. They're saying, hey, if we're going to be about ads and we're going to turn into this social platform where folks actually do sponsored posts, I think it's not about the impressions. It's not, right? What we want is we need to get it to the people that actually care about what's being talked about. So the likelihood of the click and the buy goes up. That's what the redesign of that algorithm is trying to do. But no, that's super cool. That's interesting to hear.
I had a friend, Austin Belzec, on the podcast, and we talked about LinkedIn a lot, and he pretty much said the same thing you guys are saying. His impressions are down, his business is up, right? And same thing, educational content, and he's going back towards writing more stories and more personal, like going against the AI trend, right? Of like a lot of people using AI a lot, but he's going to go more into writing more stories and more personal and talking about the things that only he can talk about, right? Like things. And I was looking at one of your posts. I think it was maybe even the one you posted today, Adam, where you're like, I have been helping your ICP for 10 years, right? Something like that. Like you didn't just call it ICP, but you put like the job titles and stuff like that. It's like, you've been doing this for so long that you can speak on that behalf. And, for me, for the longest time, I've like fallen out of love of writing content for the old LinkedIn algorithm. I've been falling out of love of like just writing content for the virality or for the gamification that was LinkedIn in 2024 and early 2025, where it literally was like a game and there's like people engaging on my stuff so I can engage in their stuff. And it felt like it wasn't even fun. And now, one of the things that I find a lot of joy is because I'm an operator, because I work with so many career coaches, because I actually feel like I'm taking a lot of the transcripts of my calls with clients and even with my team and putting it on a GPT and saying, what are some good topics to write LinkedIn? And then I write the post and using some of that transcript, like that's already the educational content that I'm already doing and working with clients and then doing it. And I think I find it like now liking going back to LinkedIn again. So I'm a big fan of the algorithm. I see all the changes. I do think that if you're watching this, one of the things that I would ask yourself is, are you a creator first and a business owner second? Or are you a business owner first and a creator second? Because I think one thing that you, Adam, Reno, and Austin have in common is that you guys are business owners first. Like you guys don't care with the vanity metrics as much. You care more about how is that content that you're writing generating applications into your programs, registrations, ultimately clients. And so yeah, that's my 2 cents there. A little bit.
I think a topic for a future podcast that we should do, because I get this question from other coaches, and I think you all have the same pain point, is like, hey, if I'm a coach and I'm starting out and I want to start doing content, it feels like the people that I need to network with in order to get comments and likes on my stuff are other people like me, right? Like,
yeah.
that's a good thing. It's also potentially a bad thing, because in a perfect world, right? Adam Broda creates a fully loaded career coaching post and puts it on LinkedIn, and everybody that responds to it is Adam Broda's ideal client, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's not usually what happens, right? The people that respond to my content are career coaches potentially competing with me, which again is just
But
an
that was like
interesting.
2024. Like that was because they thought like commenting on you would
Yeah.
reach to them. I think in the new algorithm, I think that will slowly change.
What I'm saying is, I think we need to have a discussion on how to help people do that, right? Like how do you move your content or your comment section back to this hyper organic, full of clients kind of a thing, as opposed to it being full of other creators, where that strategy used to work in 2024 or 2025.
Listen, you just got to start blocking everybody. Coaches are going to be blocked this week.
I think if you guys want to see it, for anybody that's watching this or watching the replay, put in the comments what topics you want us to dive into. I think like for us, if I think about how we could do this podcast even better.
Where are the comments? Where's the comment section?
The comment section, there's actually they're commenting on LinkedIn. We have actually people watching this live.
Oh man.
And what LinkedIn being super glitchy is that it's like literally 30 seconds a minute like late. Like somebody put a comment. All right, here's a question. LinkedIn feels more like marketing and sales platform than a true job search platform and a professional networking platform. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Be the change you want to see in the world. Start posting tactical educational content, and you'll.
I'm gonna add that to my Reno quote board.
You still have the eat your veggies?
Oh man, I look at this every day when I wake up.
What is that? What is it?
It says if you eat your vegetables and work hard enough, you can get famous. Reno Perry.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true. What was the question?
It was a comment. It was LinkedIn feels more like marketing and sales platform than a true job search platform and a professional networking platform. I think LinkedIn has its pockets. I think that there is a big amount of people using it for B2B sales, right? And it is a marketing and sales platform when you're selling to B2B, right? It is the best platform for that. But I also think it is the platform for job searching. And I think that there's pockets to that. And I think LinkedIn is getting better at interest based. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on that particular thing.
Yeah. I was just looking through the comments. I didn't even see this. Someone said, spill the tea, Reno.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
I think you can also curate your feed a little bit, right? In terms of following the people who aren't so salesy and promotional with their content. And then LinkedIn has a feature, right, where you can, a lot of people don't know this, but you can go to a post and say, I forget what it says, but it says something like, is this relevant to you, or do you like this kind of content? And you can say, no, I don't. Now, it does require a little bit of work, but you can curate what you see in your LinkedIn feed. And the LinkedIn algorithm, part of what it's supposed to do is train itself to understand what kind of content that you like to see. And so there's a curation element to it. And then the second part is if you are a content creator, even though you may not see immediate effects from it, is to post content that you want to see on the platform. So is it interesting takes? Maybe only commenting on content that resonates with you. So create this ecosystem that you want to be in. And eventually you're just going to be surrounded with those kinds of creators and those kind of people in your space.
Has the tea been spilled?
Did you spill the tea?
Is that it? The tea?
Ashley, if you're still here, let us know if you spilled the tea over the last hour, or if you need to do this again because I saw a comment too late.
We need to get some of these comments loaded in as we're going. We need to wait for that to happen.
The challenge, I'm telling you, is LinkedIn is so buggy. Like if you look at LinkedIn now, look,
Daniel, I don't want to hear excuses. I think we got to move past that.
Look, this.
Do you want me to put up more Reno quotes?
Yes. Okay. This is literally, I think I took a sip like 5 minutes ago. This is LinkedIn Live right now. Yeah, this is LinkedIn Live right now. So we are in a whole different stratosphere. Look, it's still not showing me sharing my screen. And we've been sharing the screen for like 30 seconds now.
Yeah, isn't it wild? But, what are you going to do?
So it's really hard. it's really hard. It's still not showing that I'm sharing my screen. It's really hard to like answer those questions because by the time the question is asked, we've already moved from that topic. Somebody asked about Oracle. No, they didn't. But like that was like, imagine if we just saw it now. Like we're going back. So I would say like if you guys are watching the replay, because I think there's like hundreds of people. Like there's like I forgot exactly how many people watched the last one. It is like 400 something people watched it. Ask the questions, put it there, and then we'll go. I'll have my team go back and read some of them, and we'll bring them up and we'll talk about it in the next podcast. But where you guys want us to guide this conversation. But with that being said, it's been an hour, and I know you guys are busy people, and Adam should be on spring break on a beach in Florida, but it's at home reading Reno quotes.
I would take the quotes with me to the beach. I mean, that wouldn't have changed.
It is a great honor for Adam to be able to read those quotes.
Everybody has to have something that inspires them. So,
yeah. Vegetables now, or you're still not eating vegetables? So, like that quote cannot happen to you. You can't be finished.
No, I can't complete that one. I'm still not on vegetables. That I have.
You only have meat now. So
4 more days. 4 more days of no vegetables.
Okay, you got to get back.
Yeah, that's true.
Come back.
All right,
guys.
Any last thoughts? Anything you guys want to leave the audience? Comment and subscribe. Like, come on. Call to action.
Yeah. Send feedback. I mean, that would be the request. What can this podcast bring to the table that you need to hear? Let us know. Daniel's only so inventive, so
yeah,
feed us those ideas.
Tell us how you're doing too. Before we do this again, I'll just see people post content. Tell us how your experiments are going on LinkedIn. What are you guys seeing out there? Right? Obviously, we've been doing this for years, but I always like to see new coaches, new creators trying new stuff and reporting back.
How cool. What are your thoughts if we did like live LinkedIn reviews?
How would you do that with a buggy LinkedIn?
No, like people that have to comment today.
Yeah.
And then next time we go around, we'll literally pick people's LinkedIn and we'll like review it. Like,
yeah, why not? If you see this, put it in the comments if you're watching this right now.
Well, there you go. Or content review. Maybe we just go into the algorithm and just like, what about this? Anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll get creative. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I always feel like we get into the groove literally towards the end. And so I don't know what to think about this. How does
I'm sad you felt that way because I felt like we were grooving right when Adam joined.
Yeah.
When do you move? When do you finally, are you making the move this weekend?
It's over the next couple of weeks. It's a slow drip.
Where are you moving to?
Just somewhere else in Chicago.
Spain.
Oh, okay.
España.
Are you moving to the suburbs so you can have a yard?
No, we didn't pull the suburbs trigger yet.
Oh, okay.
Still a city guy. Still a city guy at heart. Can't do it. Can't do it yet. And then
one more kid for that.
And then afterwards, we'll. I think we might go to Portugal or Spain.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you gonna work from there?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna work all 4 hours a day.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Following that Spanish culture. There you go.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Eat dinner at 9 p.m.
Hey, dude. Yeah.
And hey, we're gonna see each other in Orlando in the summer, right? Like we got that's coming up in June.
Yep. June 22nd. We're gonna watch some World Cup games together. Kind of kidding, not kidding, but yeah, we going on. I did.
We should podcast in person.
Yes. We'll podcast in person. I'll get a studio. We'll get a studio going for us.
Bring all my professional podcasting equipment.
All right, bye guys.
It's been great. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Buddy.